Welcome to the 35th Jackie's Proof Animals Have Souls and Psychic show, produced by Passionate World Talk Radio, a subsidiary of Global Media Network. For new listeners, my website is jackiejoneshunt.com. Jack is with an I-E, Jackie. And then it's Jones, Jones, Hunt, Hunt.com. I'm a historian of spirituality, a lecturer, decades-long vegetarian for compassionate reasons, and psychical researcher. Apart from observing psychic and mediumistic phenomena, I've had many personal mediumistic and psychic experiences myself. I read the tarot cards, the angel cards, and the angel dice, which give you sort of soul information, guidance with problems, and predictive information. My books include, because I'm also an author, my books include Moses and Jesus the Shamans, which are mediums, and I talk about the biblical mistranslations that the organised church put into the Bible that's left people even today a bit worried or thinking mediumship's evil when it's actually a spiritual gift. And people were tortured in the 16th and 17th centuries as witches. So all of this is from biblical mistranslations, and I show how Jesus and other prophets are mediums and healers with psychic abilities and so on. Proof Animals Have Soul series, there's 2 books of that. The first being Proof Animals Have Souls, gives you proof that animals have souls, because after all, human beings, we call ourselves human beings, but we are animals, we are mammals, we are primates. Animals and birds have REM sleep, just like us, rapid eye movement, dreaming sleep. Imagine the nightmares in laboratories and in homelessness, or where they're not, or in slaughterhouses, or where they are unloved or uncared for or cruelly treated. So they dream just like us. And I watch our dogs many a time, and they're barking in their sleep with a little shadowy hollow bark, and their little legs are running. The other book in my series is 500 Plus Celebrities Go Vegetarian, and that one is about 800 quotes from the beginning of time to present day, from Buddha, Confucius, Jesus, right up to Paul McCartney. But interestingly, Proof Animals Have Souls also talks about the vegetarianism of Jesus since birth, and his brother James the Just, who led the first followers of Jesus in the first decade or so of after Jesus' death, and the fact that he was a vegetarian since birth. All the evidence is there, and it's coming out more and more in to the world that obviously man-made religion overtook the spiritual teachings that were given. My books are available on Amazon as softback books and also as e-books. Now today I have Rachel Neat, and what we've been doing in the past couple of shows is going through the process of teaching people how they can develop their mediumistic and psychic abilities. And the psychic abilities are obviously different from mediumistic abilities. Mediumistic abilities are a third-party communicator, whereas psychic abilities are predictive information. And that's different. That's not usually involving a third-party communicator. For example, a friend Alistair was told, I've got your twin brother here, and he said, I haven't got a brother. And after the reading, he found out from his mother that he had a twin brother who'd died at birth, and she'd never once told him about it, and he was in his 60s, and she was an old lady, but she'd never told him. Now that's excellent evidence of physical survival after physical death, because it was information that wasn't in his head, he didn't know it, and it was evidence of a third-party communicator. Now, I'm going to welcome Rachel, and Rachel's going to give us the structure of her mediumistic development classes at her spiritualist church. She's an evidential medium and president of the Oldham Spiritualist Church, and that is in England, the UK. So welcome, Rachel, to the show.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for welcoming me back.
It's a pleasure. Would you like to go through the structure of your typical mediumistic development classes at your spiritualist church in Oldham, please?
Yeah, of course. So what we tend to do when people come to our development classes, if they're new and we've not met them before, we would first of all have a chat with them and just find out what kind of abilities they already have experienced or that they know that they might have. But when somebody comes who's got no experience whatsoever, we tend to talk them through what's to be expected of the meditation group that we do. So we'll explain how a prayer is very important to bring in that protection. We would also explain that opening up each individual chakra, because we all have chakras that are aligned within the centre of our body. So I'll just talk you through those chakras first.
Thank you.
And we've got the crown chakra at the top of the head.
Yes.
We've got the third eye chakra, which is usually central to the forehead. We've also got the throat chakra, which is in the throat. We have the heart chakra, which is obviously the heart. We have the solar plexus chakra. That is kind of positioned in your gut, sort of the central, just above your stomach area. Then we have the sacral chakra, which is around the stomach area. And then we've got the root chakra, which is the very bottom, just below, near your pelvis kind of area. These chakras all represent you as an individual. And you can use these different chakras to help you work with the spirit world. So, for example, your crown chakra, when that's opened, and you're working with the spirit world, that's where you get your downloads from. So your downloads will come from the spirit world into that crown chakra, so you can access that information from spirit.
Yes.
The third eye chakra, that would also be where you would communicate in the clairvoyant kind of aspect of mediumship. So some people see spirit in like the mind's eye. So it's inside like a reel, like as if they're watching a show.
Yes.
And then other people would see them in the full, like I would see you and I in the street. And I see them both ways when I'm working with spirit. The throat chakra, that would be where you speak your truth. So everything that you're getting from the spirit world is the truth that's coming from them to you, for you to give that message. Now, all the other chakras all serve different purposes in the terms of when you're feeling certain feelings, like your clairsentient and that inner knowing and all those kind of feelings that you get where you just don't understand how you know, but you do. And they all represent different things with that as well. There is a lot more information regarding chakras that people can probably research on Google, but that's just giving you a kind of idea, because when people come to our church, I would talk to them about those chakras so they understand what their purposes are for them. Once we've covered that, we would then do a guided meditation, and this is to learn about visualizing. So myself or somebody else who's on the church committee would then do the guided meditation. So we'd play some music and we would talk through a scenario so that they can visualize themselves walking down a country path, going over a bridge, going into a garden, and it'd all be talked through to them so they can visualize it.
Yeah.
So then after the meditation's over, and it's usually about 15 minutes, the meditation, after that, we would then go around each person individually and we would ask them what they saw. But before we would start there, we'd ask them what they saw regards the colours, if they saw any colours, if they saw a bridge and what kind of bridge they saw. Because for us as guiders, because we're guiding them, because ultimately we don't teach them, we help guide them. The spirit world teach the person, the individual, how to work with spirit. They're our teachers, the spirit world, not people on the earth. They're just there to guide because they have experience already beforehand. So we would then give them guidance around what they saw, like the colours they may have saw may represent different things around their lives. Like if they saw the colour purple, the purple, it represents that they have a strong intuition and psychic abilities and things like that. And then things that they may see in the meditation. So, for example, if somebody saw a wolf, then we would be able to give them information around that, because a wolf would represent intuition being strong and good protection around them. Because each person has their own team of spirit guides. So, like you and I, we'll have our own spirit guides that work with us. So, yes. In the beginning stages of learning how to work with the spirit world, guidance is really, really important from those that already have that experience. But eventually, what happens is with people when they start developing more and more, is the library of information that starts coming to them from the spirit world helps them understand how they personally work with spirit and their guides. So then they build up their own unique way of understanding things. So the beginning stages is important to plant your seed somewhere where you go regularly, you get a good friendship and build some good trust with those that you're in the circle with, so that you can experience it the best possible way.
And how much do you charge for people to come along to the Spiritualist Church to meditate in a group and sit in the development circle?
So we just ask for a £2 donation, which is not a lot. It's just to help with the electricity, towards keeping it heated. But it's just £2 donation per person, and they get 2 hours for that.
Yes, well, that's very, very, very reasonable. And then you help them to understand the symbols that they get. You mentioned before the show about somebody seeing a Japanese bridge, and that told you that they had good visualizing skills. But they need to also know is what they are visualizing, or what spirits are actually putting into their head, and to clarify the distinction between the two.
Yeah, well, the idea is when you're in a circle and you're opening up to work with the spirit world, you're setting the intention at the beginning when you're opening with prayer and asking for spirits to come around. So the idea is that everything that's brought to each individual in the meditation is actually been put there by spirit, because we've set the intention at the beginning that that's what we're doing together as a team. We're working to bring spirit around us so we can learn and understand the spirit world more.
Yes, and you said that sometimes people just come for a number of weeks and they just relax, and then later they might see colours, and later they might see faces, spirit faces over time. And you would say a wolf was intuition and protection, an owl was wisdom, horses are strength, and you said water would be cleansing. And then if it's choppy water, emotions might be high, or they might be going through difficulties. And you see a birthday card to know that there's a birthday around, whereas some mediums see a birthday cake, which is interesting. And I've also heard some mediums say that when the voice comes from the back of their head to the right, it's a male, and when it comes from the back of the head to a left, it's a female. And I can imagine that's what you're saying, that people build up their way of working with spirit over time.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody has their own unique way of understanding, because I know mediums, like you've just explained, if a soul from the spirit world steps forward first, the one that steps behind them passed before them. Well, that's for that particular medium, because for me, it doesn't work that way. It's the opposite way around. So everybody starts to understand their unique way of working with the spirit world once they've got the basics and they get comfortable and they're more relaxed. And spirit work with people at different paces as well.
Yes.
So some people can come into a circle and develop really quickly and rapidly, and then before they know it, they're doing demonstrations of mediumship in centres and churches, whereas some others can be coming for 15, 20 years and not really going in that direction, because that isn't what their purpose is. And that's the reason why you've set your purpose before you come to the earth plane with your guides and inspirers, that you want to experience certain things here on earth. So when you do, one of them might be that you are coming here to demonstrate mediumship so that you can help people understand our true home.
Yes, very interesting. And some people, mediumship comes in overnight, but it can go out overnight. I know somebody who had a stroke and they'd been a medium since they were a baby, and when they had a stroke, their mediumship went, but then it came back as they healed. But I also think that mediumship can go when a person is possibly doing it for money, and not for the right reasons. You know, it should be for spiritual benefit of your client, and not just for a money-making purpose, because I do think sometimes they lose their mediumship. And then if they do persist, then they're not necessarily giving you evidence of survival. It's more possibly what they're just possibly conjuring up. So people have got to be careful when they're paying money for this area, because they often come to it when they're vulnerable or when they've been bereaved. And it's important that they know who is teaching them. And also, if there's too much money involved, then obviously, to me, it's not for the right reasons. That teacher is not for the right reasons. I'm afraid we need to stop now because we've run out of time yet again. So thank you, Rachel, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.